What's going on, y'all? I am here to tell you my top 10 bands of all time. And there's no way you can even put top 10s. When I was filling this out, I was thinking of so many others, and I was just thinking, well, what did this band influence my life, or what was going on in my life when this band was huge? And so there's no way that you could even put with 10 bands out of all these nice badass bands that we've had in our life. It's hard to come in at 10 of them. So I just threw out the 10 that affected my life the most, and every one of these is a banger. There's only 2 bands on this list that I haven't seen some form of, like one of the members or the whole band, and there's a few of them that even changed my life. There's 2 of them that I can remember, 3, 4 craziest concerts that I've ever seen in my life. Some of these bands are on, so that's also a plus. I'm gonna come out number 10, Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters. Straight up, every album that they've had pretty much has been a banger. They've never made a CD that has really sucked. Both times that I've seen them, it's been super awesome. Last time I was super close and it made it even better. So the Foo Fighters, I've come out with CDs, it's bang, 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 bang. Just in the color and the shape, and then, oh man, now I always hated when I start naming off some because I won't name them. But each CD, even when they did their acoustic and rock CD, each one was awesome. So that's why I'm going to say Foo Fighters, you're number 10. Number 9, Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains, anytime it's raining, is like a typo negative band. That's an awesome day to listen to Alice in Chains. Not that they're a gloomy band or anything, but I don't know, that just makes some rock. And they're the only band that's ever really, well, there's been lots of bands, but they really did it. They changed their singer, or not changed their singer, they had to replace their singer after Lane Staley had passed away, and actually knocked out the park. Usually when a band changes a CD, well, singer, go ask Stone Temple Pilots is what's happening right now. No one really cares, and it's hard. It's a hard thing. Alice in Chains has had many CDs before Lane Staley died and after. Well, I think they're coming up with their 3rd one that's about to come out. But both of the CDs that they put out, the second one people were kind of iffy about, but the Giving the Devil His Due I really liked, and every time I've seen them, besides the Lubbock incident, which that'll be on another video, Alice in Chains has rocked it each time I saw them. We've seen them with Velvet Revolver. I've seen them in the Lubbock incident, and I believe there's one other one that we'd seen them. They're an awesome band in concert. Number 8 is a band I haven't seen in concert, any form in concert. My friends had seen Billy Corgan, but I have never seen the Smashing Pumpkins. I remember the day Melancholy and Infinite Sadness came out, we walked to the mall. That's when people actually used to buy CDs at the mall, but actually used to use their feet and walk to the mall. We walked, if you're in Clovis, New Mexico, from Harrison Street to North Plains Mall and back. And I just remember holding the CD wondering, if this video was such badass. I think Tonight was the first video. It might have even been Bullet with Butterfly Wings. I was like, if this is going to be this badass, I got to hear the rest of the CD. And both CDs still to this day hold up as awesome CDs. They've come out with, I think it was Adore. Lots of them that I loved. They had the box set that we got for that one Christmas. That was an epic Christmas. So many CDs, the Siamese Dreams, so many awesome CDs that they kicked it out the park. Number 7 is The Doors. Now the Doors, been there our whole life. We weren't able to, wouldn't it be awesome to open a brand new Doors CD and know, it was record back then, and just the craziness you would hear. I wish I could hear The Doors again for the first time, just to know what, my first time hearing The Doors was probably just on the radio, and I wish I would have got the full experience of, putting that record on, and, back in the day they put on the headphones. I still wear my headphones just to intense the music. But I would just like to know what it was like opening a Door CD and hearing it for the first time, because I'm sure it'd be mind blowing. It was the first time that you didn't see a bass player, like someone playing it with the keyboards, and Ray Manzarek knocked it out the park. Jim Morrison. I listen to the Doors sometimes, and I'm wondering. I'm like, Limp Bizkit and Rage Against the Machine were like the two things that started people going crazy back in the day. But listen to the Doors and think people were rioting and going crazy to that. It just blows your mind that how much music has changed. Number 6, we are coming at the Pearl Jam. And Pearl Jam, I've always been a big fan of. I don't know how I'm going to be able to show you this, but I'm such a fan that I put the Pearl Jam symbol on my leg. Pearl Jam, the first time we saw them was in Lubbock, Texas. The second time was in the Austin city limits, and that was life-changing. Hopefully this comes back to good view. My camera sucks when sometimes. So, Pearl Jam, that 10 CD, it's hard to make a CD and everyone was a banger. But that CD, every CD on that was a banger. Multiple CDs, the no codes, even binaural. When we saw them, they were at a big political part of their life, so that was a little weird because, Lubbock, Texas, and I don't know, but they rocked it. The second time, I was in this much mud. Like, you would jump up and down and you couldn't because there was so much mud. Epic. Even the whole band's, the bass player and then both guitars, Stone, and oh man, I hate when I should do these when I write some stuff down, so I'm not a jerk and not blowing out these people. Epic solos. There's sometimes I'll just be in the car, 98.3, and just going off, and if they only knew it was Pearl Jam, you'd think I would be doing some epic stuff. Number 5, the Eagles. Eagles is another band that I wish I would have seen one of their albums actually come out. There's a documentary that's on Amazon, I believe, or maybe HBO, about the Eagles, and it's mind-blowing. It's 2 sections, and it goes through their whole span of blowing up, breaking up, the time in between, and afterwards, and it was epic. And we lost, oh man, see, I'm bad with these things. We lost one of them recently, and I thought the Eagles were going to be gone. I'm fucking shit up even worse. I thought everything was going to be gone, and then, so they're making a comeback. They're using the Sun, and then one of the country music singers. So hopefully they'll make still a comeback and then change it. But the Eagles, I still remember being in my car, or being in my mom's car, and hearing Hotel California for the first time. Life-changing. There's still some of their songs that I will just jam like it was the first day I've ever heard it. And life-changing stuff. In that documentary, they said, the Eagles weren't playing for you, like your life changed to the Eagles music. Like that was like the soundtrack of your life in the 70s. And then they completely, like, I think once it hit the 80s, they just disbanded and they're like, fuck the 70s, and then they came back in the 90s making that money, son. So my mom influenced me in the Eagles a lot, and then I remember the day that she bought me Hell Freezes Over from Kmart, and that was very crazy. I put that up in there, and I should have put this band on there, but the moment that my mom bought me Queen, that was another one of the moments that changed my life. But the Eagles, that is a life changer the first time. Another life changer, Black Sabbath. Now, I know this, I'm going to show you my other damn leg, but I got the Ozzy tattoo because Ozzy did a lot of changing, when we were kids, Ozzy, changed a lot of stuff. I remember and this is Ozzy, so I'm going to put Black Sabbath / Ozzy, because the moment that my aunt had passed away, I had went and seen her at the hospital. It's just a few, second away from here. And when I got in the car after I'd seen her, I knew it was probably the last time I'd seen her. by the time I got home, this is before you had cell phones in your pocket every 2 seconds, my mom had called my girlfriend and told her that my aunt had passed away. So in the span of and it seemed like the second I got in the car, they played the thing for 98.3, and then they started to See You on the Other Side. And I'm bawling. I wasn't even in my car, like crying, probably hitting the steering wheel, pissed off that stuff was going down like this. But that was the very last time I seen her, and it was like Ozzy saying, everything's going to be all right. So in that, I saw that thing when I was a kid, and I was like, I'm going to get that tattoo one day. And then so it ended up happening because, it was a big thing in my life. But then in Black Sabbath, we just seen Black Sabbath this maybe 2 summers ago. Maybe that was 2 summers ago. And it's sad to see these bands saying this is the final time, but at least they give you that one last hoorah to, and now Ozzy's pulling this is my last tour this year, so I can't miss that one. So the upcoming months are going to be pretty exciting if I've got to make it to all these concerts. But Black Sabbath and Ozzy, you are number 4, because life-changing stuff. I still remember at one point I had bought the whole box set of every Black Sabbath album for Christmas. Well, I didn't buy it. I got it for Christmas. And just hearing each one and the changing of it and just, being a little kid and taking that all in. Now a kid can go download 30 songs in 2 seconds. But back then, those, 30, 40 songs were, life-changing. Just being like, such crazy riffs and the bass lines and just such crazy shit. Black Sabbath and Ozzy, hands down, one of the best bands ever. You're number 4. Number 3, it's my boys Pantera. And you can't talk about the boys without not having a shot of Crown. Good old Dime. I seen a thing today, and it had Dime and Vinny playing, and then who did they have on bass that they had passed away? They had Dio playing. Maybe it was the bass player from Metallica. I'm not 100%. I'll have to look at that. But they had them playing in heaven, and I was like, oh, if only. If they're playing at the heaven's gates when we get there, even if we're going down the hill afterwards, at least we're going to have that thing. So get your pull. Pantera. Number 3. Oof. Greatest Chris Shober bands ever. I've probably told this story a million times on this now, but Pantera was my first huge concert. Everything that was going on at the time, it was just loud music, girls partying. It was everything you weren't supposed to see at my age, and you got to see it at that moment. So it was life-changing. Only concert my dad's ever taken me to, and I'll probably say that at his funeral because, I hope I don't see nothing like that. That's scary, but I will be thankful for my life. He taught me how to tie my shoes, took me to Pantera, and taught me how to drive, and probably a million things in between. My dad is a big influence in my life, even though I probably don't show it enough. Maybe one day he'll actually see this and he'll know. I should just make a video about him and my mom, just so they know. A lot of people don't say that, but Pantera changed my life. I remember the Great Southern Trendkill, hearing it for the first time. Huge ass boombox. I've told this story. Back in my friend's hut, we were jamming as loud as I could go, and just hearing Floods and hearing the Suicide Note 1 and 2, just mind changing. How they changed rock and roll, and at one point they were flying the metal flag when no one else was doing it. And so Pantera, you're number 3 on the greatest. I cannot even tell you the craziness, the guitar solos from Dime, crazy drumming, the bass, how Rex plays it over Dime solos, and it just sounded like what he was playing, just the rhythm just crazy. Phil wanting everything from the crowd, destroying it on vocals. There's sometimes they give him hell. He's probably in his maybe 50s right now or something like that. If I'm 36, it's got to be 50. They give him hell because you can't make those notes. like, how can you keep up with, like, he had the craziest screams. And just, you listen to that Suicide Note Part 2, and you tell me if anybody can scream crazier than that. Pantera, I'll probably tell a million more stories because you changed our life so much. But that shot was for you. Thank y'all very much for changing my life. If I would have, if I would have went to that Pantera concert, Lord knows what would have happened to me. I think that was a big change in my life right there. Number 2, I know I shouldn't be showing all these things, but my fat legs. Nirvana. Now, Nirvana changed music. Like, changed music. It went from all that cock rock stuff and then just completely wiped them out. The first time I ever heard about Nirvana, my cousin was showing me the Unplugged in New York CD. And this is, Kurt Cobain had already passed away. I wish I could, I just remember him talking about this band, and he was like, no, it's an awesome CD. I was like, I heard people go crazy and there's mosh pits. He's like, there wasn't no mosh pits. This is like calm music. And I would hear the other stuff and I'd be like, how is this calm music? So, and it's funny, the 2 huge bands that I got tattoos of ICP and I got tattoos of Nirvana. And both my cousin Brad turned me on to ICP and my cousin Ryan turned me on to Nirvana. And if you knew them now, you'd never think that would happen because, they're 2 different. They one likes country now and probably the other likes country now because, I don't know, that's what people do when they get old. Nirvana, oh man, I can't even tell you all the crazies. Like, you want to learn every one of their songs on the guitar. Bass is just crazy. Dave Grohl, like fucking killed it. Like, I've never, straight killed it. Like, there's a reason why he is one of the best drummers ever. And, it's crazy that he don't play the drums now because just how crazy he was at the time. Every CD, In Utero still makes, when I hear that, like the beginning, the do, like, every time you turn on the In Utero, I still have that weird feeling. Like, it just gives me that weird feeling of when, the first time hearing that CD. And, it's sounding so much different when you thought it was going to sound like Nevermind. And you heard it for the first time and you're like, what, this is way crazier than this. And, it was mind-blowing. Nirvana didn't have very many CDs, but they knocked it out the park. You look at the one with School and all that, every song is a hit. And such easy chords. It's going to be like this next band. Such easy chords changed changed the span of music. So it's awesome. Nirvana, I can't even explain. You'll be on until I'm dead in the grounds. You'll be with me by my side. You're on my leg for life. And I can't even tell you everything in my life that's happened cool. Nirvana was in the background at some point. So, hands down, one of the greatest bands ever. I wanted to throw just a few honorable mentions of bands that had changed my life. Like I said, Queen. I remember the second my mom buying me the Live in Wembley Stadium. She was like, all the hits are on this. You don't need to go buy another tape because it was sold out everywhere because the Wayne's World had just came out. So she was just bought me the Live in Wembley, and she's like, believe me, you'll like this. Just get this. Journey, from The Sopranos to everything. Journey was one of those bands I was playing in the background. It was pretty much Journey and the Eagles I was playing in the background for most of the people back in the day. Rage Against the Machine. Can't even say how many craziness. If you wanted to get hyped up, that's what you play. Soundgarden was another band. Chris Cornell, R.I.P. Every CD was crazy. I remembered, I think it was Down on the Upside, first time buying that, coming home with my friend Ryan and his grandma, driving home, just looking at the CD, just can't wait to hear what this was. It just came out. All I heard was a song on MTV. I had to get it. 311, Incubus. First 311, I could just say so much. that Blue album, I just remember so many things happening in my life. I was so young. That's when you cherish CDs. You would keep a CD, and for a month straight, that's all you listened to. The Blue album. I remember me and Ryan have crazy memories from Transistor. Sound system. I remember putting it in my CD and driving away from Camelot back when you used to buy CDs. So, 311's been there a lot of times. I've seen them multiple times. Always awesome. Incubus, seen multiple times. I wouldn't put them on the greatest up there, but I put them in as honorable mention because, they were the rock people of the 2000s and stuff like that. So they had a big part in my life. Number one, hands down, it's the Beatles. Everybody knows the Beatles. So many great CDs. My friend's dad played the White Album for us when we were kids. Showed us the whole Paul's Dead, and I was scared shitless. I didn't even sleep that night because I was scared of what had happened just from him playing the records backwards and the weird stuff that was going down. We saw Paul McCartney. It's probably been 5 or 6 years ago. He had an all-out, for being an old person, they had fireworks, and he put on a show of shows. We were kind of towards the back part of them, and we got to see, when he did Live and Let Die, it was full on Live and Let Die. Like, it was pretty awesome. The Beatles, hands down, the anthologies, I remember them coming out, staying up late to watch it on ABC. Again, one of the ones that you want to learn all the songs. Before I got my Cowboys tattoo, I was going down the street and I heard a Beatles song and I was like, that's a sign. Like, I need to get this, get this done. This dude was playing the guitar on the thing, and if I wasn't trashed right now, I could tell you what song it was. But the Beatles, pretty much, that's another song that's been playing, or band that's been playing just all through my life. They got the anthologies on DVD. Well, they've had them on DVD, but you can watch them on YouTube now, and still I'll sit there and geek out for like a few days just over the Beatles things. They were hands down one of the craziest bands ever. I would have loved to see what it was like the first time hearing a Beatles CD. Well, I do remember my first time. I might have heard them on the radio and stuff like that, but just that time, super scary. My friend's dad used to just pick up a book, and it had the Beatles anthology. It was every song, and he just, what song y'all want? Just randomly print to a song. And we were so young, we didn't know that he wasn't playing the full song. He was just going with the flow. He was reading the words and just playing the songs on tabs. Sorry if there's a dog barking in the background. She's blind, so she don't know what's going on. I had helped her. I'm not trying to be mean. I put her in a bed a few seconds ago. She just likes to randomly bark. But the Beatles have been there through thick and thin. So many albums. We just recently put together a Beatles Sgt. Pepper's puzzle. It was like 1,000 pieces. It took multiple days, but they had a Beatles countdown of the 100 greatest songs, and I sat there almost all day and listened to everything while doing that puzzle. That weekend will always remind me of that puzzle, and then the top 100 Beatles songs. Because there would be sometimes, it was just like making this list. How can you pick? Where do you put, it's like your babies, like, all these songs that just changed your life. And whew. So I don't know how you could even pick the top, 20 Beatles songs. Just that would be just as hard as making this list. I made this list. A lot of people might be like, why are you putting Alice in Chains at number 9? Or the 8 isn't, the Smashing Pumpkins. Why would you think of that? A lot of people will be like, Black Sabbath is one of the greatest bands. Why didn't you put it over Nirvana? This is just how I feel. I'm sure there's going to be people that are just like, how could you even do that? Or why would you even put the Foo Fighters as number 10? But that's my pick. You know what I mean? That's just how I lived my life, what I've been jamming my whole life. All these bands have had a million influences on my life. I wanted to be just like each one of these bands. I've always wanted to be a rock star. These these bands changed my life, and I'll be forever grateful. Y'all have an awesome day. Don't party too hard. Y'all have a good one.